What if I told you there's a $1 trillion proposal sitting on lawmakers' desks right now? One that could put actual money in your pocket. Not someday, not hypothetically, but funding that's already been researched, calculated, and could directly support millions of Americans who are barely getting by. Hi, everyone. I'm here because I understand what it feels like when every dollar matters, when you're forced to choose between groceries and gas, or between paying rent and buying medication. That's why today, I'm breaking down a massive report that hardly anyone will ever read, but that you absolutely need to know about. I went through this document line by line so you don't have to. This report points to possible relief for SSI recipients, SSDI beneficiaries, veterans, families with children, and honestly, anyone who has been overlooked in today's economy. But before we dig into the details, let me share something personal. I know how important even small amounts of help can be when times are tight. Here's the bottom line. A new analysis reveals that nearly $1 trillion in potential economic relief could be directed to American families through targeted stimulus measures. This isn't wishful thinking. It's based on concrete budget analysis and real economic modeling. The report highlights SSI recipients, SSDI beneficiaries, and VA disability recipients as top priorities. Why? Because these groups have taken the hardest hit from inflation, yet they've received the least support. Think about it. On SSI, the maximum monthly payment is only $914. That doesn't even come close to covering rent in most areas. Many veterans may get a fair disability check, but they're also juggling heavy medical bills that insurance doesn't cover. Now let's look at who we're really talking about. SSI recipients. About 8 million Americans rely on supplemental security income. These are elderly individuals with little or no work history, people with disabilities, and those unable to work due to medical conditions. Most live far below the poverty line. SSDI beneficiaries. More than 9 million people receive Social Security disability insurance. They paid into the system while working, but became disabled. The average benefit is around $1,350 per month, and many get even less. Veterans. Roughly 5 million veterans currently receive disability compensation for service-connected conditions. Families with children, this includes single parents working minimum wage jobs, two-parent households still struggling to cover basics, and grandparents raising grandkids on fixed incomes. The unemployed. People who've been out of work for months, lost unemployment benefits, and are trying to retrain for new careers but need short-term support. The report doesn't mince words. It states, current economic relief programs fail to address the structural inequalities that leave America's most vulnerable populations behind during periods of inflation and economic uncertainty. In plain language, the people who need help most aren't getting it. Another section reads, targeted direct payments to SSI, SSDI, and VA beneficiaries would provide immediate economic stimulus while addressing long-standing adequacy concerns in these programs. In other words, send money directly to disabled Americans and veterans. It not only helps them survive, but strengthens the whole economy. The proposals suggest payments ranging from $600 to $2,000, depending on circumstances. For someone living on SSI, even an additional $1,200 could mean the difference between stable housing and homelessness. Now here's the encouraging part. This report isn't coming from just an advocacy group. It's written by economists, policy analysts, and budget experts who understand how government finances work. When they say this is possible, they mean it. There's bipartisan interest. Politicians from both sides of the aisle are starting to agree that veterans, disabled Americans, and seniors on fixed incomes need urgent relief. The systems to deliver the aid already exist. The Social Security Administration knows who receives SSI and SSDI. The VA has records of disability beneficiaries. Unlike past stimulus programs that took months to set up, this could be rolled out quickly. But let's be realistic about the roadblocks. The biggest challenge is political will. Even when lawmakers agree in principle, getting Congress to act is notoriously difficult. We've seen this pattern before. Lots of reports and good intentions, but slow movement. Then there's the issue of funding. $1 trillion is a massive sum, and while the report suggests ways to pay for it, those details have to be debated and approved. On top of that, there's public fatigue around stimulus programs. Many people remain skeptical after problems with earlier relief efforts. So what should you do with this information? How can you prepare for changes that may or may not come? If you're on SSI or SSDI, double-check that your information is current with Social Security. Payments would almost certainly be deposited in the same account as your monthly benefits. If you've changed addresses, banks, or other details, update them now. If you're a veteran, make sure your contact and banking details are up to date with the VA. If you think you may qualify but haven't applied, start now. The application process for SSI and SSDI can take months or even years. Don't wait until relief is announced to begin. For everyone, stay informed, but don't put your life on hold. Keep applying for jobs if you're able to work, seek local assistance programs, and prioritize your well-being and your family's needs. I want to share something personal here. I've been in that situation where you're constantly checking your bank account, hoping for anything to show up. And when help finally does arrive, it can be life-changing. But it's not a permanent solution to ongoing struggles. If this relief does come through, use it wisely. Pay down debt if possible, build a small emergency cushion, or invest in education and training. But also don't feel guilty about using it for essentials, food, medication, or safe housing. That's exactly what this money is meant for. Meeting your basic needs isn't selfish, it's survival. This report represents more than just potential stimulus checks. It's an admission that our system is failing millions of Americans. When someone who worked for years becomes disabled and falls into poverty, that's not an individual failure, that's a collective one. When veterans return home with PTSD or injuries and can't access proper care, we as a country have failed them. These payments wouldn't be charity. They'd be recognition that every American deserves dignity and economic security. So, what's next? The report is currently being reviewed by government departments and congressional offices. Advocacy groups are using it to push for change, and economic advisors are analyzing its recommendations. Realistically, any action will take months, not weeks. Government is slow to move on big funding programs, but here's the hopeful sign. People in positions of power are finally having these conversations, and public awareness is growing. Here's what you can do if you want to see this become reality. Contact your representatives. It may feel pointless, but staffers keep logs of constituent calls. When hundreds of people in a district bring up the same issue, lawmakers take notice, share accurate information. When you see misinformation online about benefits or stimulus payments, correct it. Share facts, not rumors. Support advocacy organizations like the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, Disabled American Veterans, and others who fight daily for these policies. Stay engaged. Don't get excited about the possibility of relief and then forget. These issues affect millions of Americans year-round, not only when they make headlines. I can't stand here and promise you that this $1 trillion relief package will pass. I can't guarantee $1,200 checks for SSI recipients or extra compensation for veterans. But I can tell you the research is solid, the need is urgent, and people are actively working to push this forward. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Use the support systems already available, local aid programs, food banks, and utility assistance. And always remember, your worth is not defined by your bank account. Whether you're disabled, unemployed, weighed down by medical bills, or just struggling to get by, you matter. Your struggles are real, and you deserve help. If this breakdown was helpful, please subscribe and turn on notifications. I post new videos every week covering benefits, assistance programs, and strategies for navigating financial hardship. Check out my playlists on Social Security benefits, where I explain SSI, SSDI, and retirement programs in plain language. And if you're a veteran, I've built an entire series on VA benefits that many people don't even know they can access. Drop a comment to let me know which topics you'd like me to cover next. I read every single one, and your input guides my research. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, we're all in this together. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.